So exciting. But wait, there's more. It's not a set of steak knives. It's even better than that. Look, if you aren't following Dr. Vonda Wright, you need to, because she is just unstoppable. I follow her because I have started doing some weight training, and I've got to tell you, I was a bit scared about it. But once you meet her, you will know it is all about strength, because strength and being strong is everything. She's an orthopedic surgeon, and she has dedicated her career to keeping women strong and mobile. She is Unbreakable, which just quietly is also in the name of her book that's coming out. It's called Unbreakable, Go Strong, Live Long, Age with Power. I love that. She is a force to be reckoned with. Now, her husband is a retired professional hockey player, and he swears he married for love. She said he might have found it convenient that he married his orthopedic surgeon. They have a blended family of 6 kids, and I just find her incredibly inspiring. So please welcome the wonderful Dr. Vonda Wright.
What doesn't kill you makes us...
Enjoy.
Hello, Sydney! There's really no other place I would be than here, at this iconic place, at this iconic event. You know, I'm a sports doctor, and so for me, this is the global Super Bowl, the Global World Cup, and the Global World Series of Menopause. And we're so honored that you had us come across the Pacific to be with you today. Listen, when I stand in front of audiences like you, a house packed with smart, savvy women, I am so inspired, because I want the first thing you remember me saying to you is that we are the 51%. We are not the minority. We are the majority, and we are powerful. We make 80% of all the healthcare decisions in this country for ourselves and everyone we touch. We make 85% of all the consumer decisions, and for many of us, we are the primary breadwinners. And that puts us in a very powerful place. In fact, globally, we control $31.8 trillion of consumer spending. And yet I find many times women do not realize their power to change the trajectory of the world or change the trajectory of their own health. So, you know, I have spent my career as an orthopedic surgeon, sometimes putting metal in bones, but always treating people as whole people, being concerned about every part of their health, because my first job in medicine was as a cancer nurse. And you cannot take care of people who are in the throes of survival without realizing that we are more than a body part. We are a whole person from head to toe. And so for me, as an orthopedic surgeon, saving your mobility, whether I put a metal in your bones to make you walk again, or I fix your shoulder so that it'll move again, or you can hook your bra strap, frozen shoulder. I am saving your mobility, and in doing so, saving you from the ravages of chronic disease. Because what do we know? Well, actually, many people believe that aging is inevitable decline from the vitality of youth down some slippery slope to frailty, and that there's nothing at all we can do about it. But the fact of the matter is, and I hope by the end of today, you will be so galvanized to understand that by investing in our health every single day, we can be healthy, vital, active, joyful, long into the foreseeable future. So listen, I've had my own menopause journey. At 40, when I finally got finished with training, and I was working really hard to build my practice, and I was a head football doctor for the University of Pittsburgh. And I was 40 and had my first biologic child, which for those of you that had a child at 40, you know what that's called? That's called geriatric pregnancy. Yeah. So I did that. And I was in the best shape of my life, and I was working really hard and going along, building a career, and then, oh my God, 47 happened. And I thought I was gonna die because I had heart palpitations. I was so sweaty at night that I had to stick out my thermometer leg just to stay cool. You know what I'm talking about, I know. You know, I'm a surgeon, and I have to ask for the name of instruments, and I couldn't remember that the thing that went like this was called an Atson. I had to say, give me the thing that goes like this. I know. And it's a terrifying place to be. And I'm kind of animated, and I'm kind of a happy person, but I was so enraged every single day. And that just wasn't me. And so 47 happened, and my God, I had actually written the book on fitness after 40, but I gained 30 pounds out of nowhere, and my cholesterol went up, and all the things that maybe you identify with. And I got to midlife after working so hard for so long, only to wonder, will my health last? And you know what? That's a reasonable question, because when we look at the trajectory of our lives, our lifespan for women in Australia is 85 years. You guys are doing great. But our health span, the data show, is only 63, meaning those things we die of, heart disease, stroke, cancer, start rearing their ugly heads about 63. So you do the math. What does that mean? That means for fully 20 years, we are suffering. And so that's why this is a call to action today. So why do we age? Number one, I'm going to teach you some science today. Number one, we age due to our epigenetics. Epigenetics is that part of our genetic code that we control. My mother, when she's in the audience, is very happy when I say things like, genes don't control your destiny, your actions do. Do you know that when you leave here today and you go for a run or lift weights, you are causing the transcription of 9,800 genes that can change the trajectory of your health? It is a very hopeful message. The second reason we age, the time bomb that ages us, is called senescence. In our bodies, you've probably heard of stem cells. Stem cells are those pluripotent cells that can become anything. Those will mature into mature cells that are muscle and bone and brain. And then when those cells are done, they're supposed to die. But there's a population of cells called senescent cells that after doing their job are so damaged they can't possibly work, and they accumulate, and they can cause cancer. The third reason we age is due to inflammation. Now, inflammation is a normal process. When you sprain your ankle, you got hot and red and stiff. It's your body's normal process until you have too much of it, and that's called inflammaging, and it is at the heart of metabolic disease, along with mitochondrial dysfunction. Have you ever seen a real mitochondria? This is a picture I took in college because I was just that geeky. It's 125,000 times magnified. Metabolic disease, like diabetes, inflammaging is what kills most people in the world. But the other thing that is aging us is our menolescence. I made this word up. I like to make up words. Because it reflects the trauma that we all went through in adolescence. Remember when we came into our hormones? And it was topsy-turvy, it was physical, it was psychological, it was hormonal, and it was social. Well, I believe that this menolescence in the reverse way can be as traumatic. And you know, I am still a practicing surgeon, and in the 20 years I've been a surgeon, I have looked into the eyes of 100,000 people. And as I learned more and more about our mentalescence, I started to notice patterns, and women would come to me, and without prompting, they would say, "Doc, I don't know what happened, but I am falling apart. And sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy because I've told my doctors about it, but they say there's nothing wrong. It's just that I'm aging." And then they apologize to me. And they say, "I'm so sorry. I have such a high pain tolerance, but I just couldn't do it anymore." And I want to know why we tolerate that for women, why we tolerate the suffering that makes women think they have to stay at home and take it. And so as I started to recognize the patterns that I saw in the 100,000 patients that I have taken care of, I put it all together so that you would have a nomenclature to speak to your doctors about. Because if you go in and say, "I'm shrinking, I'm losing my muscle mass, my body hurts all over, my knees hurt, I think I'm getting arthritis, I've gained all this fat," 8 problems later, your doctor's gonna glaze over. But if you go in and you say, "I think I have the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause because I'm middle-aged and my estrogen's dropping," that's better, right? This QR code will allow you to download this paper, and I think you should do that. You should read it, and you should take it to your doctors, because we are partners in this education. But one thing, and I intend to do this globally in 2025, is to make you love your bones. Listen, people think bones are silent. I mean, when was the last time you ever even thought about your bones, unless your Grandma Mary or your Aunt Maud fell down and broke her hip, right? Bones are not only important in fractures. Here's why they're important in fractures. 1 in 2 women will have an osteoporotic fracture in their lifetime. That's either me or that's you. It's either me or that's you. 1 in 2 women. And when you fall and you break your hip, 50% of the time you do not return to pre-fall function, and 30% of the time you die. Osteoporosis is preventable. Our bones matter, right? This is a femur, by the way. But bones are not only structural. I mean, think about it. Without bones, and we're concerned about our muscle would be a heaping pile of metabolic tissue, no form, you'd have no locomotion, right? Bones are master communicators. They secrete hormones that go to the brain, that build brain. They go to muscle and pancreas and help you absorb glucose. If you're a man, and there's a few of you here, they go to your testes and help you make testosterone, and they can help control your microbiome. Bones are master communicators. They're structural, and we build them across a lifetime. In Australia, you cannot get a DEXA scan until you're 70. And I contend to you, because I'm your orthopedic surgeon and I do this every single day, that is too late. I do DEXA scans on every patient who comes in my office, and I find 24-year-olds who have osteoporosis because they've never built enough bone. Maybe, like Mary Claire says, they're just trying to be little, and they don't eat enough, and they haven't had periods for 9 months. Or maybe, and hear me, I'm a big proponent of breastfeeding. I breastfed my own baby for a year. You lose 20% of bone density in the first 6 months of breastfeeding. And so if you are not eating properly while you breastfeed, you will not rebuild your bone. And then when you lose your estrogen, without even knowing it, you can lose 15 to 20% of your bone density. So this is a lifetime issue. So listen, I see the future of women. I am the one called to the emergency room when you break your hip. And I don't want that to be you, laying there crumpled up in that uncomfortable blue gown with gynecourinary syndrome of menopause, with a bladder infection because you were never given vaginal estrogen, with heart disease so bad that the hospitalist cannot clear you for the 45 minutes it takes me to fix your hip, or with a touch of dementia. So listen, I get so passionate about this because I am at the bedside of women, and I call you today not to ignore this. I call you to take the steps to talk to your doctor to get a bone density, to understand what it's going to take to fix your bones so that you do not end up like my patients with the hip fracture. Because if you fix your bones, then I will not have to. And here is the message that I want to empower you with. You are not the victims of the passage of time, and you are not the victims of the passage of time. You can take control of your future. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to give you 3 things in the next 3 minutes. Number 1, you are going to pivot your mindset. You are going to stop looking over your shoulder. I always look over my left shoulder. And worshiping your youth. Okay, 25 was great. But 25 was so frigging easy. But we weren't as mature. We weren't financially stable. We probably still lived in our parents' house, right? So let's pivot our mindset from worshiping our youth to looking to the future, that these can be the best days of our lives. Number 2, we are going to spend as much time as it takes in midlife and menopause literacy like you've done today. Number 3, I believe that we are all sentient beings with agency to make our own HRT decision. You get to choose. But I want you to choose based on facts, not fear. And finally, I want you to build an unbreakable lifestyle. And here's 3 tips. And we only have a little bit of time, so I encourage you to keep listening online, because we talk about this every day. Number 1, if you do nothing else, I want you to build muscle. I want you to become strong. And okay, please don't throw tomatoes. Pilates and yoga is great for mobility. But it is never going to be enough to keep you out of the nursing home, and 1 of 3 women will end up in a nursing home frail. So we must learn to lift heavy. We must hire a trainer. We must take an online course, and we must do it carefully so that we're not afraid of getting injured. But we must build muscle. And we can build muscle. This is a study I published in 2011 showing that if at 40, I'm just going to define for you, that's gorgeous muscle. Gorgeous quadriceps, gorgeous hamstrings. And then we sit around for 35 years and do nothing except work in our offices. In the middle picture, we lose all of our muscle architecture. We develop thick rinds of fat, which is noxious. Now, if we want to put it in an easy language, the first picture is flank steak. The second picture is a rump roast. People, let's not do that. You can change. And how do we do it? This is the time to take a picture of my slide. This is how we make muscle. We lift heavy, 4 repetitions, 4 sets, 3 times a week. So we're putting down the mamby-pamby pink weights. And we're learning to lift heavy. And those are all the benefits, from the stem cell level to the muscle tissue level. And then the other thing we have to do to build our bones, I'd have you do it right now, but it might be disruptive. I want you to jump up and down 20 times a day. I want you to pound up your stairs like you're angry, even if you're not, because your bones need to be bashed to be built. Yeah. I know, we're so excited. The next thing we have to do is get off the moderate intensity, wasteful working out. I used to be addicted to high-intensity interval training. And that's fine, but what happens is it's not low intensity enough to grow a heart muscle, and it is, say that backwards, it is too intense not to get hurt, and it is not intense enough to actually grow heart muscle. So we walk briskly at low heart rate, or we get on any apparatus, bike, rower, alpine. And listen, why not walk? I mean, it's our first skill, right? At 1 year old, we walked. And then you do that 3 hours a week. And then twice a week, we work as hard as we can with our heart rate at the top of our heart rate. So take a picture of this slide and then tune in. I teach this every week on Instagram. And then finally, nutrition. So we're gonna build some muscle, we're gonna walk, and we're gonna be intense. And number 3, we are gonna stop with the sugar spikes that mess up our mitochondria, that leave us exhausted with constant hunger. You know what I'm talking about. You eat some sugary thing, 3 hours later you're at the vending machine at work looking for another sugary thing. It's because your sugar is spiked and it's dropped. So to even that out and to build muscle, we eat 1 gram of protein per ideal pound, whatever that is to you. You know what your ideal weight is. 1 gram per ideal pound. And we take our carbs as fiber, complex carbs, not simple sugary carbs that we get in processed food, complex carbs as fiber. And it is possible, no matter what age or skill level you start with. This is my friend Susan Geedy. She decided, she is such an inspiration. With the 3 things I just said to you, she decided at 63 during COVID that she felt like shit. And she was not gonna live like that anymore. So she started walking, she learned to lift heavy, she ate protein, she stopped eating crap carbs. And at 67, 3 years later, she decided to compete. You don't have to compete. I just show you this to show you there is no age or skill level when our body will not respond to the investment you make in it. Because listen, if you've heard nothing else of what I've said to you today, I want you to remember that you are worth the daily investment in your health. There is nothing more important. That you have amazing agency over the trajectory of your health. And I believe that we can build an unbreakable lifestyle and go strong, live long, and age with power. Thank you so much.
Stay out here. Okay. I'm not even going to let her leave. Come. You know what? How amazing is she? Everyone wants to go and lift some heavy shit now.
I'll meet you on the patio afterwards.
Okay, have a seat, because you know what? We are going to end with a bang.